I'm Jeanette Wyden, and I work at Loudoun District Library, and I manage the local history genealogy collection. And I would say I am passionate about two things: genealogy, of course, and local history. This is my town. I grew up in Grand Haven. I love it. Well, Dr. Mary, she's from Indiana, and she went to college. She went to get her teaching degree. After she had been married and had a couple of children, she went on to get her degree in medicine. And in 1941, her and her husband came to Grand Haven, and they looked around and loved it immediately and decided this is where they wanted to come and live and open their medical practice, because both of them were doctors. Dr. Mary stepped in and filled a void that was in our community because all the doctors went off to serve during World War II. There really was a lack of medical service, so we needed Dr. Mary and Dr. John to be here and serve the community. She was quite a feisty woman, but I think if you are doing her job, you have to be. You know, in the 1940s, women were not doctors. It wasn't an everyday thing. So she had to fight for what she got. And just like Rosie the Riveter, when those men were coming back, she knew she was probably going to lose her job or her patients. So she decided that she was going to specialize, pick something that was unique, a service that we needed that we didn't have, and that was anesthesiology. Another reason she said in one of her interviews was because that allowed her to work half the time and be home more with her 6 children. So in the early years of medicine, doctors had to buy their own equipment. If that was surgical tools or medicine or a stethoscope, they had to buy it, they had to provide it. So when Dr. Mary specialized in anesthesiology, she had to buy her own equipment. She had to buy her own oxygen tanks and tubing and everything that was required to do that job. Well, before the hospital was built, really most women gave birth in their home. The doctor would go to them. The other option was to go to a maternity home. After the hospital was built, they had a maternity floor, and her husband decided they were only going to deliver babies in the hospital. That really brought on a surge of patients for the hospital. If you are at all involved with the history of our town, you definitely know who Dr. Mary is, because she was also not just a doctor, but she was very involved with the Tri-Cities Historical Museum and loved this community. Even though she wasn't born here, she loved it just as much as if she had been. So when I met her, I worked at the museum, the Tri-Cities Historical Museum, and she was a volunteer. She was in charge 100% of the time. I remember the very first time I met her. They marched me into the office where she's sitting, and she very sternly asked me, "What's your name? And what's your title?" And she pulls out an index card from her purse, and and who did you replace? She crossed out their name and wrote my name in. Every new person that came to the museum, she had that index card in her purse all the time. She pulled it out and wrote down your name. Our town should feel pride having Dr. Mary as part of our community. She should be in the Michigan Hall of Fame, Women's Hall of Fame.